What is going on, all of you gaming lawyers, and I mean, those of you gamers who are just interested in patents out there in the world? I am Mega Amster. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, appreciate you stopping by. And today I wanted to talk about Nintendo, specifically when it comes to their patents on certain hardware and certain video game mechanics, because one came up recently that has been extremely controversial, and I want to talk about it here among some of the other ones that they patented and kind of their patenting behavior as well. For those of you who don't know, like, what is a patent? I'm not going to be able to describe this in exact law terms because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the full technical details on this, so please correct me in the comments about any of this if I'm wrong about it. The way I understand it is that those patents are like companies essentially kind of saying that they like own a certain thing, right? There's not patents aren't exclusive to video games, they're exclusive to any form of business, but specifically with video game patents, a lot of these companies try to essentially stake a claim on certain mechanics or certain hardware that they might produce one day, mainly to protect it from being used by other companies, whether maliciously or not. The thing is with Nintendo, a lot of their patents are honestly kind of malicious to other companies because, case in point, let's talk about the main focus of today. This patent is for summoning a character to fight with you. This is a video game mechanic that, of course, they are trying to patent specifically for Pokemon, especially with the Palworld controversy we had back in 2024, where Nintendo was not happy with how the whole Palworld situation ended up. I don't know if they brought them to court. I don't remember the follow-up there, but they, were mad about Palworld having a very Pokemon-like game and having similar ideas to like catching pals and using them to help you. And so here we are, fast forward about a year and a half later, Nintendo putting a patent down that got accepted, right? Because you can have your patents rejected, I'm not sure exactly what board reviews it, but they will review it, check what your patent is, and they can reject it. They've done that plenty of times in the past before, but this one slipped through without any complaints. For literally summoning a character, like a secondary character that your player summons. So to me, this is like, okay, Pokemon, Palworld, right? What other games? I've seen some people bring up Persona. Technically, you are playing as a protagonist, some character who summons a persona to fight alongside you. Would that fall under this patent? Would any sort of RPG where you summon a secondary character to help you, would that fall under this patent? Honestly, I feel like almost any RPG would fall under this. So the fact that this slipped through the cracks without any sort of repercussions or rejections is kind of crazy. I want to bring up an article from GameIndustry.biz. Shout out to Vicky Blake over there for writing this article talking about this. A lot of people were talking about it. Yeah, the whole idea is that Nintendo patented in a game summoning other characters to battle, which, could pose a fundamental threat to creativity and innovation in the industry. Because you think about it, if you're able to patent a game mechanic like this, you are literally limiting access to this mechanic for so many other companies to not be able to use it, because then, they could, I think, sue you or at least file some sort of claim against you if you tried to use this mechanic while they own this patent. Another example, a non-Nintendo example, I know I'm focusing on Nintendo here, but the Nemesis system in the Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War games. As far as I'm aware, Warner Brothers still owns the patent for the Nemesis system, which is the idea of, in that, if you've never played those games, you kind of have a legion of these, you have a bunch of different orcs that are fighting against you, but you have specific ones that, will be like your nemesis in the game. And if you take one out, another nemesis will replace it. And depending on which orc is which nemesis, it'll affect the stats and everything about how the game progresses. And so that mechanic is currently patented, as far as I'm aware. Correct me in the comments if that's over. That is currently patented by Warner Brothers. So no other games are allowed to use that right now without at least paying royalties, if not getting outright sued by whatever company owns it. But back to Nintendo here. Yeah, Nintendo has secured a new patent that protects a common gameplay mechanic. Yeah, emphasis on common, because a lot of games use this, almost every RPG, where an in-game character to summon another sub-character support in battle. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office granted Nintendo patent number blah 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 September 2nd, 2025. And it was submitted back in March of 2023, apparently. This is news to me. I did not realize this right now. It was approved uncontested despite the mechanic already existing in prior games, both within and outside Nintendo's portfolio. This means that games that use features like those detailed below can now be in breach of Nintendo's copyright. There must be a PC, console, or other computing device, and the game is stored on a drive or similar. Yeah, you can move a character in a virtual space. You must be able to summon a character. They call it a sub-character, by which they mean it's not the player character. Yeah, for example, Pokemon. That's really why they're doing this, is for Pokemon. Choose scenarios. Yeah, some of this gets a little technical here. Summoning the sub-character in a place where there's already another character that it will then, when instructed to do so, fight. The final step is about sending the sub-character in a direction, then letting an automatic battle ensue with another character. So that part gets a little more specific, but so there are ways around that, but still, it's like, the idea to me of patenting game mechanics sucks, because you get a scenario where you can't have other companies use these games. It literally limits creativity. Like the article stated above, it limits creativity from all of these game developers, because you always have to be looking, watching your back in case you could be, you know, going against one of these hundreds of copyrighted claims. Like, you just cannot be doing that. It's really, it sucks to see. It really sucks to see. Okay, that's the end of the article here. But it's like, literally, like this article lists this specific mechanic, and they've had a few others as well. We'll get into a list here that actually pulled it from Nintendo Life from a while ago. But this is just, you just hate to see this. Like, yes, you need to protect. Like, here's the thing. You need to protect, like, IP, for example. Nintendo is extremely protective of their IP. You know, I don't love that they go after, like, fan games, for example, that utilize their IP. I get it, though, because they own their IP, and especially one like Pokemon that is, you know, aimed to be for all ages, especially children. Like, you need to protect that. A situation like this sucks, because these other game developers outside of Nintendo cannot use this mechanic without potentially getting sued by Nintendo. Like, the fact that you can patent game mechanics really sucks, especially one that is honestly pretty vague like this. Like, there are, like this article says, this is a common game mechanic, so it sucks to see that. On the flip side, I do want to highlight some other patents that Nintendo has made in the past. Shout out to this, actually, where did I put it? Here we go. Shout out to this article from Nintendo Life. We're going to go through some images after this, too. This was an article written back in 2019 by Gavin Lane, so definitely a little older here, but these are some of, like, the old retro patents that they have, because Nintendo, for the most part, puts patents on their hardware, like a lot of companies do. This one's interesting. This one was from a little while ago. This shows, like, bendable Joy-Con for the Switch 1 of all things. This is a really interesting patent, because here's the thing. Companies can file all the patents they want, but a lot of these ideas do not come to fruition. This one, for example, these are the Switch 1 Joy-Con. This is not Switch 2. This is pre-Switch 2. And it's showing, like, bendable, rotatable tops of the Joy-Con, which is definitely an interesting idea. Not one they ever did. Maybe they'll do it in the future because they own the patents, so they can and no one else can. You know, so it's one of those things that, like, you see. And, like, patents can be, as far as I'm aware, they could be renewed. We see a lot of patents for, like, game titles, for example, from a lot of these companies. And, you know, for example, there was the Skies of Arcadia one that Sega renewed a little while ago, and it's like, oh, awesome! That doesn't mean that they're going to make a Skies of Arcadia remaster. That means they're protecting that patent. No one else can take it. The D-pad, here's the original D-pad patent. Some of these get a little technical, but it's cool to look through and see what design ideas actually came to fruition. This is the Super Nintendo controller. I think all of these ones in this article came to fruition. N64, that's a cool one. Read-only memory, Mario 64, love to see it. This is an interesting one. So this is the Sanity system. So this was in the game Eternal Darkness, which I think last century was one on the GameCube, maybe. I think this patent expired, maybe. Definitely correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. Oh yeah, the patent expires in 2021, and I don't know if they renewed it, because there was that Amnesia Dark Descent game. When did that come out? I don't care about that. Oh, 2010. Never mind. Because as far as I'm aware, no other... Did that game... Maybe that game didn't have a sanity meter. Maybe it was something different. But it was a very infamous patent. This was an old one. It's literally just patenting the sanity meter of, like, the lower it goes, the weirder stuff happens on the screen. I really don't like this. Really, really do not like the fact that you can patent game mechanics. Nintendo Phone, I love that. When was that one put in? Does it say? No, I guess not. GameCube peripherals, interesting. Yeah, so there's a whole list of patents you can go through. And there's some really technical ones. I do want to highlight some of the ones, just infamous ones that we've seen, especially recently. This one's interesting. This was only a couple years ago, I think. This is for the idea of attaching a crank to the Joy-Con and then, like, be able to wind. It almost looks like the Playdate, if you guys have heard of that. Very interesting idea. Maybe that's one they'll do at some point. It's like a peripheral. Almost looks like the strap that you put on, and then you can like crank it somehow. Actually, oh, that maybe this might be the Switch 2 Joy-Con actually, because I wonder if it's relying on the optical sensor there where the mouse functionality is. But no, then again, these are the SLSR, so I don't know. But maybe that's something they could look into with the Switch 2 if they really wanted to. If there's a way, I would imagine with the optical sensor to be able to detect the crank. Maybe we'll see something there. I don't know what it would be, but like I said, a lot of these patents don't actually end up coming to fruition. Some of you may remember this very infamous one, because this was filed back in, at least we heard about it back in 2015, before the Switch 1 was unveiled, and people were wondering if this was Nintendo's next system. Like, there were rumors about it being a hybrid system, but I don't even know if this is real. I think it might be. A lot of these drawings you never know for sure. Some of them could be easily faked. This one was so dumb, though, because it literally, the screen took up the entire, like, oval shape of this console here. That would have been horrible if they decided to do that. You literally block out some of the image on the screen. This one seems to be some sort of adapter. I imagine this essentially became the Switch dock. Your little AC adapter, you dock it on there. I assume that's what that is. This one was interesting because this was actually, I believe, post-Switch. Maybe not. But this was, so another kind of like DS, 3DS system, but you could split off the two parts into their own things. So essentially, think about having your Switch and attaching a top screen on it. I mean, we have like travel monitors and stuff for those things, so they could totally introduce that, especially because we now have a USB-C port on the top of the Switch too. Maybe, I don't know. They could sell it for another $250. Like, I don't know. I don't want to will that into existence, but hey, they want to add, that's how we get DS emulation on the NSO. I don't know, man. That'd be wild. Yeah, and this was the article from shout out to VGC talking about it. Yeah, because look at this. When was this written? This was 2023. Yeah, so this was post Switch 1. This wasn't that long ago. A dual screen gaming device that can split in two. And this was patented all the way, way years after the 3DS and the DS. So who knows? What is kind of fun, though, is that you can just look up a list of all their patents. I looked onto this Justia patent site to try to see if I could find anything. Kind of a pain to walk through here. Most of these are hardware specific. Yeah, computer readable non-transitory storage method. Trying to read through these is a kind of technical lingo I do not want to impart on you all. Object-based audio spatializer. I get the idea. Patenting hardware I kind of get, more so than patenting game mechanics, but at the same time, it's just a bit annoying. This one I was kind of looking at a little bit because this seemed kind of interesting to me. It was very vague, but this was literally patented not even a month ago as of this upload. And this is talking about, yeah, systems and methods controlling virtual characters based on color within a game space. So is it like, information processing unit also includes a game progress unit which owns a character in the virtual space. I don't understand this. It's like Tamagotchi. Corresponding color of the own character in a battle determination unit, which performs the battle determination based on a drawing state of corresponding color. So it seems to be some sort of patent related to color and a character, and I don't know. It's reading through these is really a pain. I didn't read too many of these, but 98% of these, at least on this site, are like hardware-based patents, so nothing super duper interesting. But you can go in if you want and look through and see exactly what they look like. But they have all the technical details here if you want to look through and check it all out. But I mean, yeah, overall it's like, let's circle back to the beginning of this before I end this video, because patents are meant for companies to protect their own business, their products. You have situations like this that literally, I mean, yeah, they show you it clearly is a Pokeball and summoning a Pokemon in this patent, but they are very much like controlling the creativity of developers by patenting game mechanics like this. Same thing with the Warner Brothers situation with the Nemesis system. It's like, you hate to see stuff like this because yes, you want to protect your IP, and honestly the hardware stuff I kind of get because you want to protect your hardware. I mean, yeah, you throw out a bunch of ideas and then patent them and then never get done. That part kind of sucks. But if it's like stuff that you actually end up making, yeah, for sure. Like patenting, protecting it so no other companies do it, at least copy you directly, like that makes sense. Game mechanics, I don't love this. I really don't. And especially one like this that is applicable to not just Palworld, but a bunch of other potential games like RPGs and stuff. You could say this is overblown, but like, I don't know. I think this is concerning. The fact that Nintendo is getting away with this, at least in the US patent and copyright system we have here, it's like not great. I don't know. So it's something that they're going to keep doing, but I want more pushback on this. I don't know if it will be. The fact that this just slips through the cracks without any sort of like rejection or anything really sucks. And hopefully we don't see more of this too much from Nintendo. Like, let's not patent like copy abilities from Kirby, because then it's like, okay, well then you effectively can't use any sort of ability in any game ever. That's not Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, let's not do stuff like that. Let's not do that, Nintendo. Don't get weird with it. I'm sure they will, though. Let me know your thoughts on patents in the comments below. Specifically this patent, but also other patents and stuff. Like, I like looking through some of the hardware ones. Those are cool, but game mechanic ones like this, they just feel icky. They feel icky to have these things patented, and other developers not be able to use game mechanics even remotely similar to this. But let me know your thoughts on all of these patents and other ones that, you know, I did not mention in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next video or live stream, and until then, protect your stuff, but don't be scummy about it like Nintendo. Don't do it. See you later.